I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Matt Duchesne of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Justus Aros of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Ryan Johansson of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. And before we get started on the no half-step in hockey coverage, let me first direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadesofpuck.com, you'll learn everything you need to know about the show. And once you're good and educated, you can click on that merchandise tab, and right there, you're going to find our classic logo t-shirt, our Pride logo t-shirt, all of our different special event t-shirts. Don't worry. All of those gimmicks you've come to know and love from the Renegades of Puck, well, they're certainly still available in the online store. Throw pillow, socks, wall art, bed sets. It doesn't matter to us. You can outfit your entire home and your entire body. As a matter of fact, we like to say that we've sold out so that you can buy in. Social media is of critical importance to this independent hockey operation, so we would appreciate a like, a subscription, a follow in any or all of the following different ways and platforms. On social media, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Very easy to find us. Just search Renegades of Puck. You can find us on YouTube in video format. You can find our behind-the-scenes live stream on Twitch. That's where you'll see if there's any mistakes, if there ever are any second takes. You'll catch them live, and you'll also get the information earlier than any other platform. All of our different audio platforms are available to you to download our podcast. Stitcher, Spotify, Google, Amazon, just to name a couple of different areas where you can find the Renegades of Puck podcast. So we sure would appreciate if you would continue clicking, downloading, and listening to the podcast in audio form. Over 1 million downloads last year, and looking forward to far surpassing those numbers in the year 2023. So stick taps, love, and respect to each and every one of you for helping and supporting. It doesn't take you but a second, doesn't cost you a thing, but it goes a long way to helping the Renegades of Puck in this independent hockey operation. Venmo, that's how you can become a partner of the show or just make a donation. Please search Renegades of Puck on Venmo or scan the QR code that is currently on your screen. Any donation makes a big difference to the Renegades of Puck. Thanks to generous renegades like you can see the difference here in the technology, the quality, and the superiority between Season 1 and Season 2 of coverage from the bunker. New camera, new lighting, new microphone. We sure are proud to have all of these different upgrades. Thank you so much. We couldn't have done it without your support. Now I know it's time for the no half-step in hockey coverage, so let me deliver the good. It's time for operation number 711. That's right, show number 711 for the Renegades of Puck. And at this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves coming out of the All-Star break. 48 games played. That is the least amount skated in the Central Division. 24 wins, 18 regulation losses, 6 overtime losses. That equals 54 points. They are 3 points behind fourth place Colorado. They are 4 points behind an automatic playoff qualifying spot, which is the Minnesota Wild, in third in the Central Division. And they are currently sitting 11 points behind second place Winnipeg and 12 points behind first place Dallas. So the Central Division from the top down reads as Dallas, Winnipeg, Minnesota, Colorado, Nashville, St. Louis 5 points behind the Predators, Arizona, and then the Chicago Blackhawks on home ice, where the Nashville Predators will resume the schedule. They have a record of 14-7-3. It's a very good home record. 137 goals for, 141 goals against, a goal differential of -4. Now for the Nashville Predators, the resumption of the schedule, and if you need a very lengthy and extensive breakdown of the schedule, go back and check out episode number 710. We spent significant amount of time breaking down the schedule, stats, everything for the second half of the season for the Nashville Predators. I'll keep it brief since we're back to regular episodes. Saturday, Philadelphia. The Nashville Predators will be in Philly for a one-game road trip back home. Monday versus Arizona. The 16th versus Boston at Bridgestone Arena. The 18th versus the Florida Panthers. And the 19th at Minnesota. So another back-to-back coming for the Nashville Predators very quickly. The Predators' next opponent is the Vegas Golden Knights. A record of 29-18-4 on the regular season. 62 points has them in second place in the Pacific Division. On the road, a record of 15-5-4. They have a goal differential of +12, and they have in their last 5 games, the results look this way. On the 21st of January, it was a 6-2 win versus the Washington Capitals. On the 22nd of January, a 4-1 loss at the Arizona Coyotes. That was the beginning of this very lengthy road trip that continues after the All-Star break. On the 24th, a 3-2 overtime loss at New Jersey. On the 27th, a 4-1 loss at the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden. And just before the All-Star break, the 28th of January, a 2-1 overtime loss at the New York Islanders. Now coming into Nashville to face off against the Predators. It will be the second of 3 meetings between these two teams. They met back on New Year's Eve in Vegas. It was Vegas scoring the 5-4 overtime victory over the Nashville Predators. Philip Forsberg, though, 3 goals in that game. Lankinen did take the loss, but looked good, 27 out of 32. Thompson got the victory for Vegas, 33 out of 37. Stevenson led the offense for the Golden Knights, 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points. Now, these two teams will meet one more time. It'll come very near the end of the season schedule on April the 4th when Nashville will welcome Vegas back in for one final time. Injuries for the Nashville Predators. Carrier going to be out at least 3 to 4 more weeks with an upper body injury. Mark Borowiecki still on injured reserve. No time frame for his return. Taking a look inside the matchup for these two teams, the rankings and the numbers. Goals for Vegas is at 3.08, which is 18th best in the NHL. The Nashville Predators at 2.81 per game is 26th in the NHL. When it comes to goals against, Vegas is ahead of the Nashville Predators, 2.88, 12th best in the league. The Preds are at 2.93, 14th best overall in the NHL. When it comes to the shots for category, Vegas leads in this metric as well, 32.6 on net per game. That is 11th best in the NHL. The Preds only generating 31.4 per game. That is 18th. Now, we all know the Predators have given up a numerous amount of shots as of late, and the rankings for the season are reflecting that now. 29th overall in the NHL, giving up 34.5 shots per game. UC Saros facing a few too many shots. That's why he's made the most amount of saves in the NHL. Shots against for Vegas, 11th rated in the NHL, 30.6 given up per game. When it comes to special teams, the Vegas Golden Knights have the better power play. They're rated 12th overall in the NHL. They have a power play rate of 23.3%, 31 goals on 133 opportunities on the season. The Preds are 27th in the NHL in the power play, 16.7% conversion rate, 26 of 156. On the penalty kill, the Preds are rated 14th in the league. They've given up 33 power play goals against. They have a kill rate of 80.5%. The Vegas Golden Knights have a kill rate of 79%. They're 17th overall in the league and have given up 26 power play goals against on the season. Now, every single team in the NHL has high-powered individual offense and scoring, so let's talk about the top 5 scorers from each of these teams and get you the numbers for the potential starting goaltenders. Stevenson leads the Vegas Golden Knights with 11 goals, 33 points, and 44 points overall. Stone, 17 goals and 21 assists for 38 points. Usually plays very good against the Nashville Predators. Eichel at 15 goals and 19 assists for 34 points. Carlson, 11 and 23 for 34. Smith, 18 goals, 14 assists, good for 32 points. 18 goals by Smith leads the Vegas Golden Knights in goals, and 23 assists by Carlson. No, make that 33 assists by Stevenson leads the Vegas Golden Knights in total assists. In net, Thompson, 19, 13, and 3, a save percentage of .913, goals against average of 2.69. For the Nashville Predators, leading scorer Philip Forsberg has 19 goals. That paces the Nashville Predators through the All-Star break. 22 assists, 41 points overall. The captain Roman Josi closed the gap and tied that up just before the All-Star break. 12 goals, 29 assists for 41 points. Matt Duchene at 14 goals and 24 assists for 38 points. Mikhail Granlund, 6 and 22 for 28. Ryan Johansson, 11 and 14 for 25. UC Saros, 19, 13, and 5 on the season. A save percentage of .920. Goals against average of 2.74, and coming off a really good performance in the NHL skills competition, which saw UC Saros score a goal from the full length of the ice. Really great moment. A lot of fun to watch. Also performed quite well in the All-Star game itself. Now UC Saros gets back, and we expect he'll get the start against the Vegas Golden Knights on Tuesday night at Bridgestone Arena. That gets you all set up coming out of the All-Star break for everything that's going to happen at Bridgestone Arena between the Nashville Predators and the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, let's go all the way back to the Nashville Predators' last game. It's time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.
It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap, and we go all the way back to January 26th of the year 2023 when the Nashville Predators were welcoming in the New Jersey Devils to Bridgestone Arena. John Hines deploys his lines in the following way. Forsberg, Glass, Duchesne, Niederreiter, Johansson, and Granlund make up your second line. Smith, Parsonen, and Sissons make up your third line. Trenton, Novak, and Janot. Your defensive pairings, McDonough and Yossi, Ekholm and Carrier. Gravel in with Fabro. Of course, we just talked about Carrier going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, injured in the last game against Winnipeg. UC Saros gets the start in net, and let's just get right to it. We're only 21 seconds into this brand new hockey game, and UC Saros has already come out with a save on Severinson, and it's going to be the first shot on goal of the game. 3:11 into the first, Saros comes with a save on Hischier. Traffic was kept to the outside, an easy stop and look for the netminder of the Nashville Preds. 5:17, Blackwood's in the game, engaged with a save on Fabro, plus Parsonen's rebound jam. A scrum after the whistle, showing some emotion between these interconference rivals here early in the first period. 5:39 into the first, Saros comes up with a save on Palat at close range on a low-high play pass from below the goal line. A really slick pass from below the goal line. 6:54, Blackwood comes up with a save on Janot off the rush. 7:39, Smith for New Jersey is off to the box. 2 minutes for high-sticking. Philip Forsberg would hit the post. The Nashville Predators would generate incredible zone time and great possession, but they were unable to beat Blackwood. 10:19, just after the PK, Bratt gets New Jersey on the board with his 19th goal of the season. He fakes the clapper. He opens up Saros, delays just enough to get it through the 5-hole. The Devils have a 1-0 lead at Bridgestone Arena. 10:37 into the first period. Blackwood off to the box. No, he's not actually off to the box. He's getting a penalty, 2 minutes for tripping on Niederreiter's drive to the net. Someone would be taking that time in the box. The Nashville Predators would be going on the power play, though. Blackwood would have to stay in as punishment and stop the Nashville Predators. He would come up with a big save on Duchesne from the slot, but he would not be able to stop Glass, who scores his 7th goal of the season. It was Tommy Novak taking the shot from out high, and Glass jams till it goes into the net. Incredible play and effort to see here by Glass out there on the power play. 1-1 hockey game in the first period. 13:17 in the first period. Blackwood comes up with a save on Luzon off of the rush at 15:57. Shigovich comes up with his 11th goal of the season with a wrist shot from the left circle off of Hughes' sick feed. The Devils now have a 2-1 lead over the Nashville Predators at Bridgestone Arena, but it is going to be Cole Smith at 16:20 immediately responding, making the game 2-2 on his second goal of the season. It was just an absolute perfect deflection with the shaft of the stick while setting the screen in front of Blackwood. Parsonen was the one who released the shot that was able to be deflected in by Cole Smith. Now Cole Smith's second goal of the season, 19:53 into the first period. Blackwood has to come up with a save on Johansson on the breakaway with the end of the first period. Nashville is out shooting New Jersey 22-8. 22 shots on goal for the Nashville Predators in the first period. The game itself is tied at 2 apiece. Straight up into the second period, just 33 seconds, and Saros coming with a save on Palat. He squeezed the arm and held on to this one. 3:01, UC Saros back to work, coming up with another big save, but at 4:06, Hughes would beat Saros with his 31st goal of the season. It was a loose puck. It hit the traffic in front and finds Hughes wide open at the top of the crease. He deposits that puck into the back of the net for the Devils to pick up a 3-2 lead. Third time in this game now, the Devils have been ahead by 1. 6:42 of the second period. Bastion hits the crossbar. 8:11, Glass off the box. 2 minutes for interference. UC Saros has to come up with a big save on Palat's one-timer, and then a few seconds later, a save on Mercer from straight away in the slot. 2 really big back-to-back saves here by UC Saros. 11:21 of the second period. Blackwood comes up with a save on Luzon. At 11:33, it's Mikael Granlund's 6th goal of the season. Ties the game up at 3 apiece. It was Ryan Johansson who turned the puck over along the half while he fires the puck on net. Mikael Granlund directs the puck onto the net, and then he directs it with his skate and then puts it in off of the blade of his stick. Truly incredible hand-eye coordination right here by Mikael Granlund. You had to see the super slow-mo reverse angle replay to truly appreciate and understand all of the nuance of this goal. Mikael Granlund's 6th goal of the season ties the game up at 3 apiece. Another hard-working, greasy jam goal for the Nashville Predators. 13:23 of the second period. Blackwood comes with a save on Janot at close range. 16:19. Saros a save on Hamilton's long shot at 18:27. Saros comes up with a save on Tatar. We go to the second intermission with this game tied up at 3 apiece. The Nashville Predators out shooting the New Jersey Devils 32 18. So each team 10 shots on goal in the second period. 48 seconds into the third period, UC Saros comes up with a save right here. Then 3:23 into the third period, UC Saros comes with a save on Heischer. 5:22 of the third period. Cole Smith off to the box. 2 minutes for high sticking. Now, the Smith on each team has picked up a minor in this game for high sticking. Blackwood comes up with a save on Janot's breakaway shorthanded, but then UC Saros has to go to work, and it is an intense workload. He comes up with the first big initial save on Hughes, then has to follow it up with 4 more saves throughout this power play by New Jersey. Saros holding strong, holding the line. This game is so intense. We are headed to the back of the sheet. That's where we find at 8:49 of the third period. Matt Duchene's got his 14th goal of the season. He was initially stopped off of the rush by Blackwood, followed his own shot to the net. Jam with the backhand finish. Matt Duchene's 14th goal of the season gives the Nashville Predators a 4-3 lead in the third period. 13:24 of the third. Saros comes up with a save on Graves. New Jersey pushing hard, really generating some good offensive zone time at this point. 14:58. Saros comes up with a save on Severson. 15:41. Blackwood comes up with a save on Glass off of the rush. At 16:05. Forsberg's 19th goal of the season gives the Preds a 5-3 lead in the third period. It was Matt Duchene's pass and the spinning pass reception by Forsberg in the neutral zone that leads to the partial breakaway. So Duchene springs a partial breakaway. Forsberg finishes with the no-doubter, giving the Preds a 5-3 lead and a very, very important goal. 16:23 of the third period, Saros comes up with a save on Retterland. At 16:36, Saros comes up with a save on Holla 2 times on the doorstep, former Nashville Predator. Holla 17:46 in the 6-on-5 scenario, and it was insane out there. Mercer's 11th goal of the season makes it 5-4 now in favor of the Nashville Predators, so back to a 1-goal game. It was an absolute scramble, and I think it was the 4th attempt at the net before they could get it past UC Saros. Even though UC Saros was down, out, and out of position, he was still somehow hanging into the play until this final shot, of course. 5-4 game now with just a couple minutes to go. We're back to the 6-on-5 scenario. Forsberg's hitting the post. 19:52. Tanner Jeannot's getting the empty net goal. His 5th goal of the season. 2 goals now, 2 games. And that gives the Preds a 6-4 lead. And that would be your final score. 41-40 in shots on goal. And Nashville Predators outshoot the New Jersey Devils. So you had 10 goals and 81 total shots on goal. The home team comes back from down by a goal 3 times. New Jersey scores 1 late to make it interesting. That was a fantastic interconference hockey game at Bridgestone Arena tonight. You typically do not see games that are that high-spirited, that highly competitive when East meets West at this time of the year, especially with the Nashville Predators getting ready to head off to the All-Star break. John Hines said it before going into this game. 2-0 was really good, but 3-0 to close out this homestand, or at least close out this portion of the homestand going into the All-Star break would be great, and that's exactly what the Nashville Predators did. They came up with an impressive victory, coming back from down a goal 3 different times against the Devils and ultimately winning this game 6-4. The Nashville Predators certainly took themselves out of their own comfort zone. Having to score 6 goals to win a game is not something that they've had to do very many times this season. They're used to playing lower score games than this, and when they do find success, it's usually because UC Saros is able to keep their opponent to 2 or 3 at the very most. Overcoming 4 goals, that's a lot for this Nashville Predators team, and they go 3-0. We're going to have a whole lot more to talk about when it comes to that. We've got the numbers, we've got the stats, we've got the box score, we've got the analysis, the opinions, and the Renegades of Puck. Sean C. Smith will be coming up here in just a couple of minutes. That was the Rebirth Sports full game recap. An impressive game. It was lots of fun to cover this one. New Jersey Devils, a really, really good young team with some incredible young players. And Hughes plays in New Jersey, plays right there in the top TV market in the country. Needs to have a lot more talk about him the same way they talk about McDavid, the same way they talk about McKinnon. They need to start talking about Jack Hughes because if you watch the way he can take over and dominate and control a shift and an individual play and the otherworldly skill that he has, man, what a treat to get to watch him tonight here in Nashville at Bridgestone Arena. That was Rebirth Sports full game recap. We'll be back with the Renegades of Puck and full analysis coming up in just a moment.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Tracy, owner-operator of Strong Style Fitness. And that's me and my training assistant, Rizzo. And we are here to bring you fitness that meets you where you are by offering circuit classes, bar-inspired classes, Tabata workouts, boot camps, guided stretching, and more, all taught by a certified personal trainer, me. To learn more, go to our website, strongstylefit.com. Subscribe on YouTube at Strong Style Fitness. Follow on social media at Strong Style Fit. But most importantly, let's get you moving. It doesn't matter if it's your first workout or you've been doing it for years. Strong Style Fitness has the workout that meets you on your journey and helps you along the path to a happier, healthier life. I understand where you've been, what you were going through, and where you were going, and I want to take you there. We'll see you on the mat. Mwah.
UC Soros 35 of 39 in this game. And you know what? It was enough to earn the 2 points. Was it his best performance of the year? Absolutely not. But when it came to making 5 saves on that penalty kill, when it came to being there at the right moment at the end of the game, UC Soros stood tall enough to get the Nashville Predators this victory. They didn't have to rely on him solely to secure these 2 points. So for UC Soros now, off to the All-Star festivities. We wish him the best of luck. He gets a little bit of extra rest before heading off to All-Star weekend, as the rest of the Nashville Predators will do, because the rest of the league has a couple of more days to play. As a matter of fact, the league doesn't shut down until next Wednesday, and the Nashville Predators are already done and off the ice. They'll get that 5-day break before the rest of the league gets started. So for UC Soros, he picks up the victory. He's 19th of the season, a 920 save rate, 2.74 goals against average. That's outstanding. And we're going to have a where we are in the season recap coming up here in a couple of days during the All-Star break. And Nostradamus going to be back in the trenches. He's going to talk about UC Soros to sum up his season. So you'll want to tune in to the next episode for sure, as we welcome Mosh back into the trenches. Moving on with the analysis of this game, though, the offense, it was there. 6 goals. This is a team that averages 2.81 goals per game. That's 26th in the NHL. Scoring 6 tonight. Yes, empty netter pads it, makes it look a little bit better. But scoring 6 tonight, and 6 different scores, and all 6 of those different scores, all forwards. Great job by the Nashville Predators. They came through tonight, and it was an impressive overall effort. Again, down 3 different times by goal, responding, coming back all 3 times. I want to highlight, single out a couple of different players. Parsonen, again, just absolutely consistent, and he's been outstanding since he's coming up here. He's another example for all of the people who continuously complain that John Hines cannot develop youth. Parsonen now doing special things. He's only the 4th Nashville Predator in history to get to 20-plus points as a rookie. You know, he's right up there with Forsberg. He's right up there with Radulov. I forgot the 4th name. I wish I hadn't forgotten that, but I forgot to write that down. So Parsonen's doing great things. So Glass, Parson, we're talking about them an awful lot when it comes to recent stretches of hockey, and John Hines is putting them in position to succeed. Glass is on the second line. Parson could easily be back on the second line or up on the first line if needed to be. So Glass is doing great. Parson is doing great, and getting to 20 points as quickly as he has is very incredible. He's a great all-round hockey player. I've just a lot of praise for Parson as of late, because he's earned it, he deserves it, and he's a very, very good, strong hockey player on the puck. And the Preds are absolutely need that. As he gets more confidence, more experience, and you hear Chris Mason talking about that exact concept a lot on the broadcast, he is going to be a very, very difficult player to go up against. Now, unfortunately, this is not good news, and this is a tough thing to talk about. Carrier, his injury, 4 to 6 weeks, taking the All-Star break into account, that means you can lower that down to 3 to 5 weeks. That's still, we're talking about the end of February, maybe not until a week into March being back. That means, you know, one of the Nashville Predators' top 4 defensemen is going to be out until only about a month to go in the season. Carrier was playing really good hockey. He and Ekholm were becoming a really solid lockdown pair together, and this is going to be tough, especially the way he went out. Listen, instinct. Hockey players are going to respond. It was a clean hit that he was responding to, but he was responding and he was sticking up for one of his teammates. He took on an opponent in a fight that he shouldn't have, and he suffered an injury. And this is not something I'm going to criticize him for getting into that fight. He was doing in the moment what he thought was exactly the right thing, what honestly about 95% of hockey players would do, even when it's a clean hit. And I know that's something that we have talked about plenty of times before, that players in the league today overreact to big clean hits. This was one of those situations, but everyone understands it. It's extremely unfortunate that Carrier, who was playing some really good hockey for this Preds team, was really developing very nicely. Again, Carrier, a young defenseman, has been developed since John Hines has been here. Just another thing you need to take a look at. There's a lot of people that will never be satisfied with what John Hines does behind the bench as a Nashville Predators coach. But right now, he's got them just 2 points out of an automatic playoff spot in the Central Division, and he's got them 6 games over 500 going into the All-Star break, and he also has them sweeping 3 playoff teams in a row, a second-place team, and a third-place team. So the Nashville Predators and John Hines are doing more things than the very loud vocal minority on the internet seems to be talking about. 3-0 since the team meeting. Listen, the team, they closed the doors, they called themselves out, and hopefully they looked in the mirror. It's absolutely what they needed to do. It's something we had talked about several times here on this show, and since that meeting, LA, Winnipeg, New Jersey, 3 playoff teams, 3 victories for the Nashville Predators. That means they're preventing teams ahead of them in the standings in the Western Conference in LA and Winnipeg from picking up additional points against the Nashville Predators. So this past week and going into the All-Star break, the Preds should have their heads held high. They should have a lot of confidence. They find themselves in a very good position, the best spot they've been in the standings in quite some time. 5th place doesn't sound that great, but being only 2 points out of 3rd place, 1 point out of 4th place, and starting to put a little cushion and separation between St. Louis and Arizona, this is all good momentum for the Nashville Predators. So going into the All-Star break, they should feel really good. Now, tough road still to go. It's going to be a hell of a run these final 30-plus games of the season for the Nashville Predators. But 3-0 since the team meeting, 3 very big victories, 3 very good teams came to Bridgestone Arena. And the Nashville Predators look incredibly good in stretches of these games. The 3rd period of the LA Kings game, quite a bit against the Winnipeg Jets. They were the better team for that entire game. And then against New Jersey, they were the better team for about 50 minutes of this game in total. Sean C. Smith is going to pick things up right in that exact spot right there. He also wants to talk about everything that's happened with this team since the team meeting. So I kind of teed things up for him right there. You can find his work at A to Z Sports. You can find him on Twitter at SCSNSH, and you can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. He's the one and only Sean C. Smith.
Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegades, it's Sean Smith. We're going to talk about tonight's big win over the New Jersey Devils. We're not going to get into specifics. Charlie's already given you a full recap of the game, but here's what I want to talk about. You know, the Predators had a huge team meeting. Coaches called it, players led it on Saturday. As a result, the team kind of made some admissions, took some accountability. All the leaders on the team, the members of the leadership committee, captains, assistant captains, associate captains, that entire crew. Anybody that has a voice on the team as far as leadership goes stood up and said something. Now, my site mate Alex Doherty here at A to Z Sports wrote about that meeting, what the players were willing to tell him, but not much other information was available. Although it seemed like that once those players took accountability, the team kind of made a recommitment to playing the games the way they needed to play. That loss in St. Louis was a really big turning point for the team. So what ends up happening, of course, is you have a win Saturday, and then the players had 2 big games this week, Tuesday and Thursday night, against teams that were at the tops of their respective divisions. Talking about the Winnipeg Jets on Tuesday and the New Jersey Devils tonight. Now, what's interesting about that is there's been a lot of criticism levied at this team over the season that they can't beat good teams. And of course, those good teams are the teams that year after year, when the Predators are able to squeak into the playoffs, they get bounced in the first round by those teams that end up going pretty deep into the playoffs. Last season, Colorado Avalanche ended up winning the Stanley Cup, and that's who took them out in 4 games. Now, here's the thing. The Predators, at this point in the season, are going to have to scratch and claw their way into the playoffs. And if they're going to scratch and claw their way into the playoffs, they've got to be able to win against good teams because you're going to go up against one of the top seeds in that first round. Now, with these 2 games against these top teams, Winnipeg and New Jersey, which feels a little weird saying that, but still, these 2 top teams, Winnipeg and New Jersey, this was an opportunity for the Predators to take that momentum from their team meeting and their win on Saturday to say, hey, we can play and beat good teams too, and give everybody a little bit of hope that maybe if they're able to make it to the playoffs, they can make a little bit of noise and not get bounced in the first round. And what a response. Big win on Tuesday over Winnipeg, even bigger win tonight over the New Jersey Devils. And it seems like, you know, looking at the article I wrote earlier this week, that the Predators had a lot to prove over these last 2 games. I think they've done a lot of proving. Now, does that mean they're a playoff team? No. They're not in a playoff spot right now. The team's well aware of that. Coach John Hines spoke about that after the game tonight. They're not in a good place. They're in a better place than they were, but they need to keep working to get closer to where they need to be. He says you'd rather be hot coming down the end of the season, down that home stretch, than you would at the beginning of the season. He said last season they started off kind of hot, then had to scratch and claw, barely made it in the playoffs, limped in the playoffs, literally, and then got booted pretty quick. So here's the thing. I think the Predators have done an excellent job responding, the leaders on the team taking accountability, and what was most interesting tonight was question was asked to Roman Josi, captain of the team, who it was, what were some words that were shared, and he said that you'd want to talk to Johansson. Johansson said the thing that was the best. And of course, he wouldn't share what that was. Matt Duchene was asked if Johansson made a big impact in that meeting, and he, of course, agreed. And when asked what it was that Johansson said, he said, "That's for us to worry about. That's a thing for us. You guys don't need to worry about it." He was laughing when he said it. But then even Coach John Hines, when asked about it, agreed that Ryan Johansson and his comments and what he said, it was the right thing at the right time, really rallied the team, motivated the team, and you see the results over the past few games. So, Charlie, Renegades, tell you what, if you're going to go into an all-star break, this is the way to go. Riding high, a couple of big wins against good teams. All you got to hope is that when they come back from a long break, they perform better than they usually do after a break, which isn't very good. So keep your fingers crossed. Enjoy the break. Renegades, it's good to see you. Charlie, let's send it back over to you.
The digital environment can be quite intimidating, time-consuming, and cumbersome, especially with all those other areas that need attention at your business, and that's why Stripe Digital Solutions is here to help. I know because that's exactly what Stripe Digital Solutions did for me and the Renegades of Puck. From designing my home website and helping me create my merchandise to special event posters, brand building, and social media management. But it's not just that, it's so much more. Stripe Digital Solutions has helped me every step of the way. From startup to full-time operation, Stripe Digital Solutions has been there to assist and advise every single step of the journey. In today's fast-paced world, the path to success is having a strong digital partner, and nobody is better in the trenches than Brandy and Stripe Digital Solutions. Get the solution before it's even a problem with Stripe Digital Solutions. Coming out of the All-Star break, the Renegades of Puck did not wait for the trade deadline to go ahead and bolster the lineup. We've gone ahead and acquired Jeff Middleton. We are very excited to bring Jeff Middleton into the trenches. He's young, brash, he knows what he's talking about, and he's going to be covering sports for a very long time to come. I'm very proud to welcome him into the trenches right now. You can find some of his work on the forecheck. You can find some of his work at Broad Street Hockey, winging it in Motown, and other various places. He does an incredible job, and he has a lot of opinions. That's why we're going to call this Hard Minutes with Middleton. He's the one and only Jeff Middleton. You can find him on Twitter at JJMid04, JJMid04 on Twitter, or you can watch him right now on Renegades of Puck TV. Welcome to the trenches, Jeff Middleton.
Thanks for that awesome introduction, Charlie. Hey, Renegades. My name is Jeff Middleton, and I'm super stoked to be joining the team over here at the Renegades of Puck. A little bit about me. I am currently a staff writer at On the Forecheck and a few other SB Nation hockey sites. I also study journalism and sports leadership and management at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, so go Redhawks. And I, again, am super excited to be joining this team here at the Renegades of Puck and bringing you guys as much unbiased and unfiltered Preds coverage as possible. So with that being said, let's get right into what I want to talk about today, and that is giving you guys a little bit of a State of the Union address now that we have hit the All-Star break and are waiting for the second half of the season to start back up again. Now, there has been so much discourse on social media about this Preds franchise, from the roster to the underperforming players to the overperforming players, which there aren't many of, to the media surrounding the Preds, to the head coach, to the coaching staff, to the general manager, to the owners. You go on Preds Twitter on a game night and you will find all sorts of different discourse surrounding different people in the organization at all different levels. And it is very fair that these criticisms are coming out. But as of late, the Predators have not looked as bad as they did at one point in the season. They've won their last 3 games, beating the Kings, Jets, and Devils. And they looked strong. They looked good in those games at times, especially against the Devils, who they have not lost to in their last 14 meetings, I believe. They kill that team every time, and that was probably their best game of the three. Now, against the Kings, that was probably the one I would consider the most shaky after their embarrassing loss to the St. Louis Blues, who currently sit below them in the standings. And they had that players' meeting, and they came out and looked good. It didn't last long as the Kings scored 3 straight, but the Preds came back from that and they won, and that showed that they're willing to be resilient. But that's not what I'm here to talk about, because that result and those results in the last 3 games have led some people to be optimistic. And why wouldn't you be? The team is winning games against teams that are at the top or near the top of their respective divisions in the Pacific, Metropolitan, and Central. And there have been plenty of games where the Preds won against teams like the Carolina Hurricanes, where UC Saros stood on his head and had an frankly historic game. And there are games where there's reason to be optimistic, and media surrounding the team and people within the team have talked about how those are games that are good stepping stones for the team to move forward and to hopefully try and catch the Colorado Avalanche, who are 3 points ahead of them in the wild card spot. But it's hard because looking at the results, yes, they have won games against good teams, but they have also lost some tough games to bad teams, or they have made games against bad teams closer than they should have been. So the 2 words I would offer up to Preds fans currently that may not know where to go and are listening to this State of the Union, as one might call it, looking for some advice, I would say be careful, because the Preds are a team that has talented players. Philip Forsberg, Matthew Shane, Roman Josi, UC Saros. Those are just a few guys that can turn the Jets on and turn the heat on whenever they want. But there are underlying issues that, yes, even though they have won some games against good teams, those games haven't always been the best, especially defensively. There have been times where the result was praised. I've tweeted a lot about this game in particular because it's one that stuck out to me this season, and it was their loss against the Winnipeg Jets earlier in Winnipeg when they gave up over 5 expected goals, but managed to get a point out of it. So the surrounding narrative was that they got a point, and that's a great step forward, but the process wasn't there, and that's when the process isn't being recognized as poor, then that's going to lead to some poor results in the future or in the playoffs if they manage to squeak in, because Lord knows that going up against a team like Dallas, who has notoriously killed the Preds this season, is not going to bode well for them if their defense remains as bad as it has been, and it has been one of the worst in the entirety of the NHL, according to some expected goals numbers, thanks to Evolving Hockey for those. But yeah, I would say, as far as the State of the Union goes, be careful. Obviously, enjoy that they're winning games against good teams and that they are fun games. At certain points, they've looked good and the offense has looked strong. The passing has definitely looked better. But until they stop leaving UC Saros out to dry and giving up odd man rushes left and right, then there's still going to be some major problems if they're trying to squeak into the playoffs. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoy the All-Star weekend and enjoy the great break that we get from the NHL, because that just means that we get to cherish it even more when it comes back. And I will see you guys in the upcoming episodes. Back to you, Charlie.
I'm Crazy Charlie Saunier, captain of the Renegades of Puck. I'm also tired of the cold, tired of the dark, and tired of being landlocked. I'm also willing to bet that I'm not the only one who could use some sun, fun, and time in paradise with friends. That's exactly why I called our great friend Pete Weber. He told me, call Ships and Trips Travel, and now we're all going to Mexico. That's right, Renegades of Puck, July 15th to the 20th of 2023. Dreams Vallarta Resort in Puerto Vallarta is the destination to hang with Pete Weber in paradise. To join Pete and the Renegades of Puck in Puerto Vallarta, go to www.shipsandtripstravel.com. That's shipsandtripstravel.com, and just click on the ROP on vacation tab. Don't stay landlocked. Join the Renegades of Puck in paradise, July 15th to the 20th, 2023 in Puerto Vallarta. Pete Weber, the Renegades of Puck, and you. It's time to ditch those skates for flip-flops and fun in the sun. Sure to appreciate Jeff jumping in the trenches right there with the Renegades Puck, filing his first report. I look forward to his coverage, his analysis, and especially his opinions going down the stretch for the remainder of this season. Hard Minutes with Middleton, looking forward to having that segment on as often as we can. Now, for the Nashville Predators, it's time to get back to business. It is time to clock back in. You are just a couple of points from an automatic playoff spot, and there are plenty of games to go. Last year, you barely went 500, were able to squeak in as wild card number 2. This year, just a slight improvement over what you've done in the first half of the season, you'll find yourself in a playoff spot. Now, what is David Poile going to do? We discussed a lot of those rumors and possibilities on the last episode in the All-Star Break show when we had all of the different Renegades of Puck give their opinion. But I think David Poile goes out and makes a couple of minor moves, bolsters the D, and brings in another forward at some level. Now, I'm not going to say these are going to be game changers because I've covered this team for a very long time, and I know that David Poile has a habit of bringing in a Mike Sillinger or a Jan Halabich or, unfortunately, a Brendan Witt in times of need like this when the Preds need just one or two things to push them over the top. I don't know if David Poile is willing to go out there and risk anything. At this point, David Poile is already on a ticking clock towards the end of his career, and I don't know if he's going to be willing to trade anything away. There are teams out there that are willing to make moves, and there are certainly teams that have fallen out of contention that would easily make a deal for one or two of these Nashville Predators, big-name prospects or big-name players currently on the roster. It's an opportunity perhaps for David Poile to unload a big contract and bring something back that could help the future, but no one knows exactly what is going to happen there. Now listen, before we fully close out the episode, I want to bring you one quick segment. The Nashville Spartans were back on the ice, and it sure was a pleasure to call all of the Nashville Spartans action against the Carolina Rush. What an impressive hockey team they are. Number 1 overall in the USPHL Southeast Division, and it was a tough matchup for the Spartans, but the Spartans went toe-to-toe with them last Sunday afternoon, and here's some of the highlights from that game.
Hendrick dumps the puck down, goes to the bench for fresh legs. Schoner out here on the PK with Parker and Bennett. Though shorthanded, those particular three are a threat if they're able to turn the puck over and get moving north and south in an offensive direction. Collision along the wall. A.J. Bennett dislodged from the puck, but he's still able to get the puck down out of the zone. 25 seconds to go on the penalty kill for the Spartans. Parker in as PK1, forcing the play to the wall. Drop pass back to reset. Keese goes off to the bench for some fresh legs and allows his teammates to continue on with the rush. Perez plays the puck over. He was waiting for a return pass. Schoner picks it off. Partial breakaway for Nico Schoner, and Nico Schoner scores while being significantly harassed from behind. When I talk about a world-class lethal offensive threat, that's what it looks like. Now, go shout. Captain A.J. Bennett surveys, sends the puck over to Nico Schoner. Always a good option. Schoner builds the wall and scores. A.J. Bennett sets the play up from the neutral zone. Schoner does the rest of the work. I believe, before you shout, they like to call that a sick wrister. Banks couldn't keep the puck in for Charlotte. Now Banks takes a big hit from Parker. Nico Schoner in, and Schoner's got the hat trick. Goal number 46 on the season. Nico Schoner, a one-man offensive machine. 4-3 now in favor of Charlotte. It's Charlotte 4, Nico Schoner 3. Gonzalez takes the hit to maintain possession of the puck, fires it across. Spartans are down, and that's going to be a good goal. Charlotte's the best team in the Southeast Division, and they have come in here and made a statement this weekend, piling up the offense. It's on par, and it's based on what they do throughout the season. But this Charlotte team is going to be a very, very difficult out when it comes to the playoffs and the postseason. And it's going to be very difficult for anyone to go ahead and beat this team. With the goaltending that they have, very, very good club. Hendrick plays the puck with 30 seconds left in the game. Charlotte intercepts that play. They were looking for an extra goal. They're looking for their 8th goal at the end of the game. For the Spartans, Nico Schoner is going to go in 1-on-4. He's going to have the puck taken away from him. Now down to 10 seconds to go in the game. A.J. Bennett's got the puck all the way back behind his own net. And while no Spartan will ever give up, the captain knows it's time to capitulate. It's time to take his players back to the locker room, and he holds until the final buzzer. In a game that was 4-4 here in the third period, Charlotte shows their experience and their explosiveness. 3 goals in the third period separate for the victory. We'll line up for the handshake. Charlotte takes the sweep over the weekend, both divisions, both games. The number of goals they have piled up is something no one will soon forget here at the Gary Force Acura Ice Arena. Tough weekend for the Spartans, but a great crowd, and we sure do appreciate everybody coming on out.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Renegades of Puck podcast. We are back in the trenches, full speed ahead post All-Star break. Looking forward to talking about the trade deadline and covering all of the races moving forward all across the NHL, but especially the Central Division where it concerns the Nashville Preds. The Preds only 4 points out of an automatic playoff spot right now and very much in the hunt for a wild card spot. You can find all the coverage right here on the Full Press Predators podcast and, of course, with the Renegades of Puck. For each and every one of the Renegades of Puck, and especially welcoming in Jeff Middleton for his first appearance, we sure do appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate your viewership, we appreciate your time, and we appreciate, most importantly, you. Stick taps, love, and respect. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier.